What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. We didn't do any shows over the weekend, um, but the weekend was not good for me. NFL did a little too much, went 4-4. My top play did win in the NFL though. NBA is like I was going 1-2 like every day, so I need to change some things around and get back on track in NBA. It is good to be back with you. I'm not feeling the best today, but I'm gonna power through. How you doing today?
We're good today, Skee. Off a lot of action. I mean, for those who do have interest in college basketball, there's over 100 games on top of everything else that we're looking at here. So, light sleep last night, trying to prep for college hoop as well as everything else we have going on. But this is an NBA show. I didn't play yesterday. I probably should have. Would have had a couple of wins mixed in if I had gone NBA yesterday. But NFL 3-2. College football Saturday brought back, I think, 8.5 units. So it's been a profitable weekend here, Ski. We'll see if we can extend that into today with the this is an extensive Monday NBA card for sure.
Yeah, and a lot going on, like you said, college basketball. So lot going on today. Nice work on football over the weekend though. All right, so we'll get into it. Today will be a little bit different from myself. Yeah, I got sick over the weekend, and it was hard for me to do my normal work this morning. So I'll cap these games out as we go along. I do have a couple of plays already made today, and if you know, you know, you should be making a college bet today too. So, all right, let's get started here, Rob Veno. First game up, Milwaukee, Indiana opened up -6. Looks like 6.5. Total open 233.5. Looks like 235.5. We'll call the consensus there. Giannis is probable. KPJ out for Indiana. Same laundry list of injuries. Toppin, Nembhard, McConnell, Matherin, Jones, all out. Dennis questionable. Furphy probable. This is the first time the Bucks will see the Pacers since they were eliminated in the playoffs. The Bucks are coming off of a loss. The Pacers coming off of a win as an underdog there. So could be, a little bit more of a hungry Bucks team here tonight. And I'm wait, no, the Pacers didn't win. I'm kind of getting mixed
No,
up
they
here.
did. You're right.
They did. Okay.
They
So
beat
yeah, they're
Golden
off.
State. You're right.
There you go. They're off a win as a dog. Um, Here's my thing. I think I mean Giannis always kills this team. I know that, a little bit different players in the lineup today, but I don't see anybody stopping him from getting to the paint today. Um, if the Warriors would have kept feeding Kaminga, they might have won the game. And Giannis is way more dominant than Kaminga. So I could see him feasting today. I like his rebounds. I looked at it at 11 and a half. I'm pretty sure he's cleared that his last few games versus the Pacers, and he's averaging a little bit over 13 this year. Also, have to think about Miles Turner. He's been doing a lot of talking this offseason. And Tyrese is not a tough guy. And the Pacers said they're going to pay me all year long. And then it got to the end of the year. They didn't want to pay me, blah, blah, blah. So Miles Turner hasn't looked so great so far this season. But I do think, you should see his best game of the season in this one. That's what I would expect. So I was thinking, trying to find some ways to bet on him as well. I don't know, Pacers, their defense has been a little bit their defense has been all right. They haven't been allowing too much. The Bucks, they've scored 120 in every game except for one. How are you seeing this one, Bucks and Pacers?
Yeah, well, in response to your potential plays on Giannis here, this is the team that Pacers are the team that ran away with his 64-point ball. So ever since then, it's been not a not a friendly feud between these two. And with Miles Turner coming back to Indiana tonight for the first time, it's probably not going to be very friendly. I'll just start by saying, because you were talking about offense, defense, Giannis, the usual quote that comes out of guys after they lose a game. At the end of the day, if you don't play defense, you're not going to win the game. But Milwaukee just, you'd like to think, and I know a lot of times between us, Ski, we will apply that stuff. Sounds like the coach is talking more defense. Maybe we'll lean under, but I just don't know how much you'll get out of Milwaukee here. I do think they'll score. The Indiana victory more flukish than real. There's a big gap between these two. Milwaukee is the best field goal percentage shooting team in the NBA right now, over 52%, and Indiana is the worst, 40%. Indiana bench contributed like 15 points the other day. You take a look at that bench. We've talked about their guard situation. 4 of their top guards not on the floor. We know Halliburton won't be all there all season long, but I still include him. And it's been tough for them to even find a point guard here. I think Milwaukee's probably the winner in this game. 6 is a tough number for me to get to, though. Indiana will put up 48 minutes worth of fight. But like you say, you get the bounce back for Milwaukee off of a loss that shouldn't have happened against Sacramento. Milwaukee opens that game with 47 points in the first quarter, and then I think just let off the gas the rest of the way until they had to scramble at the end. And Indiana, I don't know what gets into Golden State sometimes on the road, Skee. I really don't. But to lose 114 to 109 to the Pacers. Interesting. Last thing I'll close with here, because you had mentioned that the Pacers are playing a little bit better defense. And it's interesting that their pace hasn't really declined. They're number 6 in pace still. So they're still going fast. But the group that Rick Carlisle has in right now, due to injury, plays a little bit harder on the defensive end, I guess, because the numbers do bear that out through 6 games. Still think Milwaukee can score on them. If I had to, I'd be on Bucks -6. I just don't like that number.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, that was a good one. Mark, glad you cashed on that. But all of Milwaukee's wins have been by 6 or more so far this season. Maybe that could be a reason not to care so much about the number. I agree with Mark. Indiana did knock Milwaukee out past 2 seasons. He says they hate Indiana. He played the first half. Milwaukee has been a slower starting team this year, but I can understand that angle today. I think they should come to play, especially off of a loss. Bucks are nothing for me, whether it's first half or full game. And I do think points can be scored in this one. All right, Vino. Wolves and Nets. Today with me feeling like this, Rob Vino, games like this, I'm gonna just go ahead and pass right over it. So if you want to touch Timberwolves and Nets, feel free, but I do not want to discuss this game.
I'll throw some stuff out there for you, and it starts with head coach Jordi Fernandez, who said, "I'm completely failing at getting this team to play hard. I've tried everything." In his words, he's talked to the players, asking them, "Hey, listen, how do I get you guys to play hard?" And they're just like, "Nah, you probably don't." And we can see it by the number of points they give up every single night. The Nets, MPJ out there calling for a change, starts off an
He needs to
interview.
change. He's just jacking all day.
He starts off a post game the other night with the reporter obviously asking him what's going wrong. And he starts by saying it's the point guards. And then he tries to backtrack. He's like, well, the point guards are rookies, and I was a rookie too, and I wasn't ready to contribute. Tried to backtrack that statement, but they didn't try to change point guards yesterday. They get 0 points out of Tyrese Martin, 27 minutes. They do have an issue there for sure, but nobody on this team wants to play defense. I think we've known it from the start. I've said a couple of times, you probably should wake up in the morning and mechanically just play the opponent's team total over. I could see that with Minnesota here if you wanted to. I don't see any way the Nets keep them below 118.5 as I look at the current numbers now. So, it has to be probably Minnesota in some capacity with their offense or nothing. They could get a little bit lackadaisical on defense here. Although I'll tell you what, people have pushed this total down. And I think, Skee, when I thought about why would they push it from 230 down to 227, 226.5, it likely all stems still from Anthony Edwards being out, and he's been out forever. I know there was a little bit of hope he might play here, but he's not going to play. So the number automatically goes down. Minnesota has shown they can score without him. I'd probably be on Minnesota team total over 118.5 until the Nets show us that they care at all to play on defense. They just don't have good defenders. I shouldn't even say they care. They just don't have good defenders.
Don't have good defenders. Point guard play is not great. MPJ just jacking. I mean, it's hard to trust this Nets team. It actually, yeah, I can't get behind the Nets here, and I don't really want to lay this big of a number with the Timberwolves team, who I think they cover one game so far this year without their star player as well tonight. Yeah, it's a pass for me, Rob Veno. Wizards and Knicks opened up minus 11.5 for New York. See 12.5s out there. Total came down a little bit from 236, low as 234.5. Middleton is questionable. Josh Hart is questionable. Mitchell Robinson is out. Looking at this one here, you have a back-to-back for the Knicks, right? They got a little bit of revenge versus it was quick revenge too, versus I don't know. Help me out, Rob Vino. I played them yesterday too,
The
and they
Bulls.
covered versus the Bulls. Yeah. Once again, I'm sick and I'm sorry. It's messing with me today. But the Knicks got their revenge yesterday. I don't know how much they get up for this game here today, but the Wizards, they're not very good. They're especially not good when Keontae George is off the court. He got in foul trouble in that last game, and they just immediately started getting destroyed. Um, you have Middleton questionable. This is tough because I like to bet Keyshawn George some way, shape, or form. And without Middleton, I really would love to try to back him. But I just don't think this is a good matchup. You got OG on the other side, Bridges on the other side to defend him. So it's tough. I um I don't trust the Wizards. I guess it's just that simple. If you tell me, Middleton could miss this game and Keontae George is getting extra attention from OG and Bridges, like I don't see Washington having success. So when I think like that, maybe this number is big for a reason. New York runs away even on a back to back. How do you view this one, Vino?
I think I see it the same way, Ski. Now, I'll preface that by saying I haven't bet it yet, but it's hard for me to make a case for Washington. I just talked about how bad the Brooklyn Nets are defensively, so bad that their coach tells you he's failing as a head coach. And yet there's a team that's given up more points per game than the Nets, and that's Washington. I mean, they're as bad, if not worse, on that end of the floor. Knicks, like you mentioned, the one thing that does scare me is that they put a little bit of effort into that game after losing in Chicago a couple nights prior, get themselves a win. But they're very capable of scoring a boatload of points, 127 less. When you're coming off the bench with the guys that they have off the bench, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, et cetera, the scoring might not slow down here against a Washington defense. So I tried to look at Nick's team total, which is 123. But I think the scary thing for me is the back to back and the amount of effort put into yesterday's game. So I kind of tailed off on that. Knicks minus 12.5 could be a good spot here. Washington can go cold in spurts offensively. It's the only thing they really do good is score points. So I think for me, it would be Knicks minus the price or nothing. Right now, I'm at no play at all on this game.
All right, Utah and let me actually get that banner going. Utah and Boston opened up 8.5, up to 10.5. Total slight move towards the over. Tatum, we know he's out. Walker Kessler looks like he's out, and Niang out for Utah. Um, Celtics haven't looked so good so far this year. To see them as this big of a favorite, it is a back to back for the Jazz, so it is that third game in 4 nights for the Celtics. Though I don't know, Vino. My initial thoughts here were the Celtics really good at forcing turnovers. The Jazz turn the ball over a hell of a lot, but the Celtics are just not capitalizing once they turn them over. Like they're not converting those fast break points. This offense just not good enough for me to be laying 10.5 points. Um, maybe an over though. If we just think about the Jazz, well, I don't know. I don't trust the Jazz defense, is what I'm trying to say. So maybe Celtics offense can look a little bit better tonight. And at the same time, I don't think Celtics defense is great. We've talked about Celtics want to run, but they got to put the ball in the basket. So how are you viewing this one, Ravino?
Well, if you need to put the ball in the basket, Utah's a pretty good team to play. That's for sure. They're going to let you put it in the basket. And I think, one thing you notice about Boston right now, Ski, this year, and not that it's anything going out on a limb and uncovering hidden gems here or anything, but they just size wise under the rim, it's a little bit different. I think Kessler and Markkinen probably do well here tonight against this Boston team, and they're both
Kessler's
guys
out.
who. Oh, my bad then. Just Markkinen. These guys that they have that are bigs run the floor pretty well. Utah's gonna go up and down on a back-to-back situation. I trust their defense even less. So I do think Boston will score. They're a 3-point oriented team. Jazz can fill it up as well. Like I said, the Boston defense, the interior, to me hasn't been as good. One other thing for me to note here, real quick, is that Boston comes off of playing Houston and now Utah. It's a major step down in class when you see the Houston defense and then you look at this defense, it immediately should signal points. So to me, the way to look here was over. I have a slight play on over in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if it reaches 240 fairly easily tonight.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, to what Mark is saying here, the Jazz are allowing slightly over 120 points per game. So good defense to see if you want to expect some scoring. What up, Brian H? He's giving us a look on the game we talked about earlier. He likes Milwaukee to smash today, and he likes Boston team total over first half and the game. All right, let's keep going down the list here, Vino. Pistons and Grizzlies. It did open -3 for the Pistons. They're now 4.5. Total came down from 238 to 230, or as low as 235.5. Injury report: John Morant is probable. Still no Edie, Clark, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr. For the Pistons. Faster's out, Ivy's out, Tobias Harris is questionable. Pistons have looked solid so far. I'm a big Cade guy. I think he'll be the best player on the court tonight. But what do we make out of this Grizzlies John Morant situation? Like, is he gonna care tonight and go out there and want to play and play well? Is he over it? Is gonna just be, remember when Jimmy Butler was ready to get out of Miami and he's just loafing around? I don't know what we're gonna get from John Morant tonight. If you tell me you get a really good effort, I would take the +4.5. But who knows? What do you think here, Vino?
Huge question, Skee. Again, he criticized the organization, the coaching staff itself, which sometimes can be interpreted as quitting on a coaching staff. He doesn't like the new system or whatever. Gets the suspension. I don't know. I thought yesterday without him, maybe the team would play pretty well. Didn't really happen. I just don't know about the Memphis chemistry at this point in time. So that was a problem there. And on the other hand, we have to consider Detroit coming back from Mexico City. They played
Good
Dallas and
point.
Mexico City the other night, and I just don't know about them either. That could be a reason why the injury list is a little bit extended here tonight. So for me, it was an immediate scratch on this game. I'd have to see one game out of Memphis with Ja on the floor. Tonight will be that game just to see how the whole team reacts with him in there, how he reacts himself. And of course, the altitude at Mexico City is really the big deal when you're coming back from there. Hopefully, you don't drink any tap water or anything in Mexico City, and the team is okay. But we'll probably talk about that with Dallas as well. So I had no opinion on that game, Ski.
Yeah, I like what you said about coming from Mexico City. Don't think it's a great spot for the Pistons. You tell me Morant cares, I would really want to get there with the Grizzlies. Ron B says Ja coming back to play is his last chance of being taken seriously. Says Grizz will take it seriously in this game. Brian says Morant quitting that fourth quarter, didn't like being caught out, so he's disengaged. He would stay away from Memphis, he says. I mean, the comment section is just how we're thinking, right? Which way is it
Yeah,
gonna go? We don't
right.
know. We'll go to the
You know,
next game.
2020 hindsight. We could tell you when the game's over.
Yep, we'll be able to tell you 100%. The other side of that, Mexico City, is Dallas now heading into Houston. They're a big underdog, 12.5 points. Total came down from 229 as low as 224.5. Let me just check this injury report. AD, Kyrie, Lively, Exum, all out. Jabari Smith Jr., questionable. JD Davison, Dorian Finney Smith, Fred VanVleet out for the Rockets. Yeah, so we talked about them coming back from Mexico City. When I just look at both of these teams, the Mavs, they struggle offensively. Whenever a real point guard, aka D'Lo, is not on the court, in my mind, and they're a team that they're trying to be like a Rockets identity, like the lengthy, but they're missing two of their big guys. The Rockets still have all that length to defend whatever Dallas has. I find it hard, or I'm thinking it'll be hard for Dallas to score tonight. Um, and on the flip side, I mean, when you got KD on your team, it's not that hard to score versus anybody. I think his last game, he didn't even have, but maybe one shot touched the rim, maybe, just nothing but the net when it's Kevin Durant. So I think the total moved in the right direction. Mavs struggle to score, maybe a Mavs team total under. Um, and then at the same time, I could understand Rockets, but I probably look more so early. Um, I think the Rockets are a good first half or first quarter team in general. I think Udoka usually has them ready to go. So Rockets first half or Mavs team total under. That's what comes to my mind here, Vino. What do you think?
Well, they're on a rampage right now. The Rockets last 3 games, 28, 18, and 17-point wins, coming back home from Boston. So first game home, I don't know, but again, we have the Mexico City factor with Dallas. Skee, the thing that baffles me here is what in the world is Jason Kidd and the Mavericks doing playing at the fourth fastest pace in the NBA with the crew that they have? It makes no sense.
Well,
And
actually, I do understand it. I do
okay, go
understand
ahead.
it because you don't have good playmaking. So you're just trying to play fast to try and go get easy baskets. That's what it adds
Yep.
up for me.
Okay. And obviously, if that's the philosophy, that's the philosophy. The problem for them is the ball doesn't end up in the basket enough for them. They just don't have enough guys, right? I mean, going fast. It's like in football, if you play fast tempo, but you go 3 and out, right? Who cares how fast you're going? You're just punting it back to the other team within a minute and a half. So that's kind of the way I feel about Dallas right now. Like you say, there's no point guard leadership. Cooper Flag, more bad games than good, but it's to be expected. You're throwing the guy into a point guard position, really didn't play it at Duke. Houston just playing way too well for me right now to ignore them. I think they probably win this game by a sizable margin. Um, Again, the scheduling factor comes into this a little bit, and then the fundamental matchups on the floor just take precedence. Dallas a little too banged up at this time. I like the favorite side here, Houston.
I think they can get it done with the big number. All right. Almost there, Vino. Man. Sacramento and Denver. Open up -9.5 for Denver. Looks like 11.5. Total open 238.5. As low as 235.5. Injury report. Cam Johnson is probable. Jamal Murray is probable. For Sacramento, Carter, Levine, Schroeder, all questionable. Malik Monk out. Keegan Murray out. I mean, what are we doing here? So for one, Vino, I took the Kings +10 versus Thunder. I took the Kings the other day when they got the win. What was it on Saturday, I believe?
The Bucks, yeah.
Yeah, I took them in that game as well because, and I don't think this Kings roster team is very good, but they were hungry. They're desperate for a win, and they finally got one. Now that they've got one, will that hunger remain? Are they even good enough if they're missing these guys in the lineup? I don't think they're good enough. Malik Monk was already a lot of points. You missed Levine. He's been hot. Schroeder, I couldn't trust his team with these question marks. So um, with that, it's Denver or nothing. And if you tell me everybody plays, I'd probably just pivot to maybe over. What do you think here, Vino?
Could see both. It's funny because we've got these double-digit price favorites so far, and I'm sitting here building cases for the Knicks against Washington, Houston against Dallas, and now probably Denver against Sacramento. I don't like to lay double digits in games, but these three favorites seem to make a bit of sense to me. For Sacramento, it's the fourth of a 4-game road trip. There's been a little bit of travel around here for them. I think it was Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Indiana. Now Denver. Denver's off that 2-point loss in the Cup game to Portland. Not that the Cup means anything to Denver, but they did lose a close game, 109-107, where their offense didn't really perform the way it's performed all season long. So I think an offensive bounce back is due for them. Zach LaVine, again, if he does miss, he's been the leading scorer in every single game so far. And now he's questionable. I think he's averaging like over 30 a game. Denver's got a rest edge here when you give a team like Denver since Friday to have off and get ready to play. And Sacramento's coming in from Milwaukee. I think that's an advantage there. The Kings have played close, like you say, Skee. The only game I could find where they didn't play close was that back-to-back against Chicago. Remember, like the DeRozan, LaVine trip back to Chicago, but it was the second of a back-to-back for the Kings, and they got blown out 126-113 by Chicago that night. That's the only time they haven't been competitive score-wise this year. And Denver, 2 home games so far, 2 double-digit wins by 22 and 34 against the Suns and the Pelicans. And the Kings defensively can be lumped into that group, Suns and Pelicans. I could see a lot of points out of Denver. I could see Denver covering this number, especially off of a loss. So in some capacity, I think I'd probably play Denver minus the 11.5, especially if Schroeder, when you start digging into the Kings bench to replace starters, and if you do have to replace Schroeder and LaVine tonight, they really become shorthanded on the fourth of a 4-game road trip. So I think I like Denver minus 11.5, the best of all those.
Yeah, that's making some sense to me. We'll move to Lakers and Blazers. Open at minus 1.5 for the Lakers. Flip of favorites. Portland is now -3. Total skyrocketed from 231.5 to 236. And injuries, I see Sharp probable. Scoot, Matisse Thybulle, and Wesley out. For the Lakers, Vincent, Thiero, Kleba, LeBron out. Ayton, still questionable here. Man, Vino, since the first game I said this, and I didn't approach it correctly. I said, I don't trust the Lakers, blah, 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 because they can't play defense. What do? They go over every single game, and I'm not betting any overs. The Blazers, they just want to play fast. They didn't go over in their last game. Maybe just too many missed shots, but they definitely do try to play fast. So I can understand why the total has gone up. Yes, it's over or nothing for me in this game. What do you think?
And I think especially probably Portland team total over, Skee. I could see isolating that as well. For the Lakers, it's back-to-back games. And you just played the number 1 pace team in the league last night, Miami. So you're up and down the floor last night. You got to come right back and play up and down with the number 2 or 3, depending upon whose tempo and pace ratings you read. But you've got 2 of the fastest teams in the NBA. You're going to play back-to-back here. I wonder, he's not on the injury list yet, but I do wonder if in the end they decide, let's give Luka a rest. He went over 38 minutes last night, led the team. I don't know that that's going to happen. Things with the NBA that we know, you have to consider these things. They just played 1 week ago, these 2 teams, and both of them were on back-to-back situations. Portland scored 122, beat the Lakers 122-108. Lakers were coming back from Sacramento. Portland was in city. And you know how that can be. When you get the back-to-backs, Clippers, Lakers, the team goes out a little bit, but they still scored 122 and won that game. I think it's a bad matchup here, just schedule-wise and tempo-wise for LA to win. But they've been playing really well for the most part, so I hate to go against them. I can understand people that have pushed it from 1.5 to 3.5 and betting the Portland side. I get it. But I think what I get even more is Portland to reach 120 points here in this game. Like I say, they did it last week in a back-to-back situation. And I'll just add one more thing. Like you just said, they didn't play up to offensive capabilities in that last game against Denver, 109-107. And I'm always looking for bounce backs from teams that underperform in situations. So to me, it'd be Portland team total over.
All right, good stuff on that. The last NBA game for today, the Heat on the back-to-back versus the Clippers. You just mentioned that one. 7.5 was the opener. I see 8. I guess we'll call consensus. Total came down from 230.5 to as low as 226. Miller, Sanders out for the Clippers. Powell questionable. Jakachonis doubtful. Hero. Well, they still have Rozier listed on here. Those guys are out.
He ain't coming back.
No. I put my money on it. Minus 50,000. He's not coming back. But Miami on his back to back. Yesterday they had to go sit Khalil Ware down because he wasn't giving them what they needed. We'll see if he can bounce back here tonight. Might need him versus Zubac down there in the paint. I don't know. This game, the total is crashing down, but we know Miami likes to run. Will they be able to run on this back to back? Did they go out and party? What do you think about this one, Vino?
I think of what you said last week. Old guys with walkers with tennis balls hanging off, and now they have to play the fastest team in the NBA, and it's on a back-to-back, so that could slow it down. But the Clippers, I don't know how you trust the Clippers in any situation right now, Skee. They played Memphis the other night. Really should have had a huge advantage. Barely escaped, 126, 124. So New Orleans pushes them to 250. Not saying 250 is going to happen again tonight because the game before that they played Golden State. It's 98-79. The Clippers are sporadic. I don't think they're good enough to cover big numbers. If nothing else, I think Spoelstra's team is giving effort. I will not play this guy. I guarantee you right now I won't play this game. But if, we had the proverbial you have to play it, I would probably look towards Miami. Just because the Clippers haven't shown as of yet any capacity to put people away other than Phoenix at home in a somewhat similar type situation. They won pretty big, but I would probably lean Miami here.
My bad. Yeah, if I'm taking Miami, it's the first half. Just like Paul says in the chat, they've only failed to cover one first half. That was last night. Clippers just untrustworthy, and they don't play good enough defense to be laying these points to me. So, Heat first half would probably be my recommendation there. All right, Vino, let's talk a little bit of Monday Night Football. With a little bit of breath I got left, let's get this last game out. And that is Cardinals going to Dallas. Opened up -3 for the Cowboys. I see 3 or 3.5, depending where you shop. Total open 51.5. It's up to 54. You won't have Kyler Murray, right? Brissett is quarterback tonight. I don't think that's a downgrade. I've said it before. I'm not a Kyler Murray guy. I don't think he's good. He's too small. All you got to do is blitz him, and he just falls down. I feel like I've seen enough Kyler Murray, personally. Jacoby, that first game he came in, I bet on him. He covered that number for me, and the passing offense just looked better to me when he's out there. You're going up against a Cowboys defense who's absolutely pathetic. They give it up to everybody. They give it up to everybody through the air. They give it up to everybody on the ground. But the Cardinals don't really have a run game right now because Connor and the backup for Connor, blanking out, but he's out too. They're both out. So they don't have a run game. I think it's a heavy pass game from both teams because of how bad the defenses are. And if it's like that, I always say I trust the Cowboys to score. I don't trust them to get any stops. I like this one early rather than late. 26.5 was the number I got for the first half, up and over, Rob. What do you think about Cardinals and Cowboys?
Yeah, I think you have to play it over in some capacity. Look at the Cardinals, like you say, Skee, with Jacoby Brissett. Last couple of weeks, 27 against the Colts, 23 against the Packers. Certainly far better defenses than what Dallas is bringing to the table here. So if you can get 27 and 23 against those two teams, and the Colts game was on the road. They had the Colts on the ropes in that one. 31-27 loss, hit 58 there, hit 50 in the Green Bay game last week. Now you're asked to get to 54 with the Cowboys, who seemingly go over every single week. It's just so difficult to recommend anything but over in this game. The Cardinal team total, I think, is 24.5. Cowboys was up around 28.5. But regardless, I think they're both going to score here. I think they'll continue to score all game long. The only thing you have to worry about, and it kind of happened yesterday in the Kansas City Buffalo game, and it cost me a bet. They ended 49. The game total was 52, but they had a couple of drives where they went for it on fourth down each side and got stoned. And when you have drives that take a little bit of time and you get 0 out of them, that can affect the total in the 50s. I don't know that happens here. I can't trust either one of these defenses. So for me, 53.5 is a viable play on over. That's the way I would look. So you like half, I like full. I'm not going to argue off of half, though.
Star Child says he likes the first half under. Hey, man, you want to try to catch that falling knife, Star Child? You go right ahead. I'm not catching it. I'm going to keep doing exactly what I've been doing every week. We're going right back to that one. So, I think that's it for today, Rob Veno. I know college basketball is going on this show. We may start to, talk about some college basketball here and there, but not today. So, going to move it over. Best bets. And, today, Vino, I'm just going to pass it to you. I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. If you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. And if you don't, all good.
Real quick, just I will promote the Wager Talk college basketball show, Skee. That first episode aired today. Adam Trigger, host, Brian Power, and myself, a 3-man panel. We're going to be doing college basketball every morning, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. If you want to go back and check that on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, by all means. But we will be there for college basketball each and every day throughout the season. So if you're into college hoop, there's the place to find that. NBA hoop, let's talk about that. I'll go to the middle of the card where we talked about Utah and Boston. I just see that as an over. I see Boston having one of those nights where they make 23s against this Utah defense in a back-to-back. And like I said, I don't think Boston's, especially the rim protection or the interior defense, is good enough anymore. So I'm going to play over 233.5 is the best bet, Utah-Boston.
Good stuff. Casey. Yeah, Canada dry as hell right now, Casey. I should be drinking the Canada Dry right now. Shout out to them LA Dodgers. Maybe I'll go pick one up right now. But for my best bet, I'm gonna go back to football. And I like that first half over, man. It's very, very simple. Dallas can score versus anybody, and they can't stop anybody. We've seen every single first half go over. Why is it not going to go over today? I mean, you want to catch that falling knife? Go ahead. Not going to be me. I've been betting first half over. I'm going to do it right again today. So that'll be my best bet for the show. And if you know, somebody in the chat is trying to help you out with the real best bet today. If you've been around for a while, you know what to do. So, Vino, I always appreciate you taking the time to cap these games with me. Everybody in the chat, appreciate y'all tuning in and contributing, helping us cap the games as well. Everybody just trying to help each other get to the window, and that's what I'm about. So appreciate everybody. I'm gonna do my best to get better before tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then.